Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Influential Nonprofit. This is a very special episode for me because we are going to be talking about case studies, real life examples of people who have grown their influence and how that has shifted how they do work and how they do life and how they raise money and all of those things. And if you don't know me, I'm Marianne. I am your host, and I work with nonprofit leaders to master the art of influence so they can ask for anything they want without feeling rejected, ineffective, or pushy, because who wants to feel that? And I am here with three of my wonderful clients, former and current, and they're going to share their stories of what they learned and how influence has helped them in their life. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Christina.
Hello, my name is Christina Danese. I'm the Development and Communications Manager for Clarke Schools for Hearing and Speech in New York. We work with children from birth to age 5 in New York, older in some of our other locations. They are deaf or hard of hearing and using listening and spoken language skills. They're learning to listen and talk.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. This is so wonderful.
Pleasure.
All right,
Thanks for
now we're
asking.
going to do Kylie.
Hey, I'm Kylie Herbert, and I am Director of Development at Habitat for Humanity of Anderson County in Anderson, South Carolina. And our mission is to provide pathways to affordable homeownership for people who are in need.
And then Colleen.
Hi, I'm Colleen Hafner. I am the CDFI Director for RISE Community Development in St. Louis, Missouri. CDFI is an acronym that means Community Development Financial Institution. And so we layer on lending products to support neighborhood redevelopment.
Yay. And we all use influence every day in our lives. All right. So let's get started. First of all, I want to ask you, what was the motivation for you to want to up level your leadership, communication, influence skills?
I'll dive in. So
okay.
This is
Colleen.
This is Colleen. Yes, this is Colleen. I remember a very specific moment. We were going through a leadership transition a couple of years ago, and that had me thinking, and I was also stepping into this new role, moving over from another kind of program here. And that really made me think, well, what does my own career path look like, both in this organization and just in this sector in general? And it just felt like a really good time to invest in myself. Personally, I was in a good place to do that after having some little kids and starting to breathe again. So yeah, it was sort of like a confluence of events, personally and professionally, that made me think, hey, investing in myself makes a lot of sense right now. Yeah, I'm glad I did.
I do too. And I remember, okay, so I was working with Rise on their marketing, and we were working through some messaging. And I said something, and I'm like, oh, because you're you're in the drama triangle. And Colleen goes, what? And I could see her face, and I explained it all. And she was like, I'm like, okay, that's my person.
Yep.
And at the end of the session, I said, would you be willing to just talk? Because I have this course and I think you'd be perfect for it. But I could see your face just light up when, that kind of that interpersonal skill set. So yay. All right, Kylie or Christina?
Sure, this is Kylie. And I met Marianne through a visioning workshop that she was doing that I couldn't stay on because I had a hair appointment. I hadn't had my hair cut in 2 years, and a friend of mine had bought me a haircut for my birthday. That's how bad I looked. And Marianne was kind enough to do a one-on-one call with me to just do this kind of visioning thing one-on-one. And through that, I was like, this lady's really cool, and I could learn a lot from her. And I also was at a time in my career where I had felt myself really making excuses to not do some of the really important things that made me uncomfortable. I had a lot of anxiety around one-on-one conversations and that one-on-one ask. I was really great at standing in front of a group of people and talking about the Habitat story, but one-on-one just carried a lot of anxiety about hitting those goals and doing that one-on-one work, and was really excited to be able to get some tools in my tool belt, and I just keep adding them.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, I know, because there's always the next thing to learn. Right?
Yeah.
There's right. You learn one skill and like remember like my friend calls it I'm gonna swear. So if you don't, I apologize. Another fucking growth opportunity, the AFCO. that comes, then the next one comes. All right, Christina.
So I am Christina, and I have been following Marianne's blogs and e-blasts for a number of years, and I always get something really wonderful from them, and then I too ended up having a one-on-one. I took advantage of the opportunity to do that, and I think you had me at value, and this idea that, you know, like Kylie and like Colleen, my confidence in my own skills and experiences wasn't really what it should be, and I am gaining an experience and starting to really recognize that. And I just got so much out of what we did, and I'm watching it. I was just making note of it the other day in something that I was handling with my 26-year-old son that is straight out of all of our conversations.
Right. I love that you said that, because the work that we do is because it's relationship building, right? It's navigating relationships, and that can be at work. It's all the same skill set. I'm not the person that's like, oh, work life and professional, how you show up one place is how you show, and a skill that you can learn to navigate one relationship, you can learn to navigate another. All right. So, being said, I would love to hear from your perspective, what are some big shifts or changes that happen because of you? Like, because you're here because things are better. So I'd love to hear like what that looks like for you.
I'll weigh in because I'm already here. I am, to reiterate, I am recognizing the value that I bring to the table, and that I have a wealth of experience that I've built up over, I think I'm at 19 years in this profession, not counting the other professions I had prior to fundraising. And that has real merit, and being less afraid to offer some of the things that I'm thinking about, or how things are sitting with me, to the leaders in my organization and for people outside.
Have people noticed this from you? Like, do you get any feedback?
I have not yet. You know, most of what I'm doing is still remote, and so maybe that is a factor in not getting that feedback. But I also have my performance review coming up, so
okay, open loop. We're gonna have to tap back in and see how that went. All right, Kylie,
Marianne, I can weigh in on that, Marianne. I have gotten feedback on ways that I have approached situations that I wouldn't have before, and skills that I have, situations that I've been able to influence in really productive ways that my boss has noticed and said, man, you know, I can't imagine you doing that, you know, a year or two ago, or, hey, I've really noticed that you've stepped up in this way, or the way that you handled that situation was really great. And so I've definitely noticed that. And, you know, some of the biggest takeaways for me in terms of the anxiety with those one-on-one conversations was letting go of the outcome was huge for me, releasing the outcome, and knowing that just going in to build that relationship and not worrying about the outcome, having an outcome I wish for in mind, but not letting it rule the day. And then also just ways of speaking to people and listening to people, showing empathy, and how to do that in a way that makes them feel seen and heard, and also still moves the conversation forward. Tools that I didn't have before, where especially with somebody who might be maybe a little difficult, things that I would have maybe before just shut down and let someone overpower me, where now I can be really confident and stand in what I know is my expertise and really be confident in what I know and also who I am. I don't have to try to be like somebody else in order to get the job done. Who I am is great, and I can do the job as me authentically. So those are some of my biggest takeaways, and I have seen people noticing, and not just at work, but also in my personal life and some of the things I do outside of work. Just people noticing a behavior shift, attitude shift that's been really positive.
Because Kylie's a roller derby queen. And you
Yeah.
even got right. No, like they're like, look
Yeah,
at
I
this
did.
new
And
leader emerging on the
yeah,
roller
and
derby team.
I have been in my, my one of our training committee folks just said to me, we had a game on Saturday, and it was a game that I shouldn't have even been on the roster for. I was only on the roster because we needed some extra bodies. I wasn't expected to really play. I knew that going in that I probably wouldn't play a lot. Totally fine with that. Played in 2 jams, was there for my team, and um so things that maybe would have bothered me before about not getting to play a lot or whatever. I just have really been going in with an attitude of how I can serve the team. And our training committee has noticed and actually thanked me, when they told me what my role was going to be for the game. I was like, yep, that sounds great, whatever you need me to do. And they really have noticed that and have been really thankful for that attitude. And I'm just having a good time, which a lot of that comes from that attitude shift and tools that I learned with Marianne.
Awesome. All right, Colleen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like nodding vigorously with Christina and Kylie. I feel like the list is quite long. So it's hard to point to maybe one specific thing, but I think the overall feeling that I have in approaching funders, approaching partners, approaching potential partners, or people we have need to mend relationships with is so much more confident because I'm approaching it from the perspective that I think I always had within, but I didn't know how to operationalize properly in this kind of professional environment of how to see things through their perspective and what their needs are, and how if we are meant to work together, it's because we're both trying to fulfill both of our needs, and that I have to understand deeply what those are and really be honest about whether it's a good fit or not. I think what holds a lot back in the nonprofit sector, and I came over from the for-profit sector only 6 years ago or so. I think what holds us back a lot is that scarcity mindset, right? And so really seeing where that's showing up, maybe for the person on the other side of the table, and then I can't change the way they think, right? And I really know that now. And so it's my job to see that they're coming from scarcity, pull us off the victim triangle the best that I can, and then bring us back to, what's really in our control, what really can we bring to change the circumstances, the system, the dynamics, and then what do we both get out of that, and see the value and see the benefit of working together. And again, I can't change their mind. I can't make every funder want to fund us, right? I can't make every partner want to kind of pull their weight. But I can feel good that like I did what I wanted to do and needed to do for our organization. And then I feel very fulfilled, regardless of the outcome. Again, releasing the outcome, I feel fulfilled that I have my integrity and that I have, gained something. I've learned something from that experience. So yeah, a lot. There's a lot there.
A lot. Well, and the interesting thing is I also know Colleen's boss, right? And he said to me, I can really see the growth. So he could see the shift in you and in the ascension in your leadership. And it's because in your story, it's internal and external. It's navigating, right, partnerships and relationships out in the community, and also navigating relationships and partnerships inside the organization, and all of those skills that go into that. All right. Thank you so much for that. Now, Kyle, I know what Kylie's going to say. I know the answer, but I would like, what is the one thing that we worked on in the in the Up Level Your Influence course that like just dropped in hard and shifted everything? And Kylie, you're going to start because I know what it is. And then Christina.
It's just, yeah, and I've already said it, it's releasing the outcome. It's so freeing. It's the most amazing thing and it goes back to that scarcity mindset, knowing that there's enough and just letting go of the outcome, and knowing that if you're working hard and you're doing the right things, what you need is going to happen. It doesn't always happen where you think it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And just being able to release the outcome and not take those anxious feelings into a meeting with you, just enjoy being present with whoever you're talking to, and finding alignment in your visions. And then what happens. It is the most freeing thing that I have ever experienced, and has made it so much easier for me and so much more enjoyable for me to set meetings and go into those meetings with excitement and not so much, nervousness in my chest,
Right. And you're raising more money. I mean,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean,
Yes. Yeah. The
and-
results are there to show the difference in
Which
the mindset.
seems counterintuitive, right? The less I want it, the more likely I am to get it. But that's exactly true. And also, just so you know, like I have coaches that work with me, and I had a call with one of my coaches last week, and I was focused on the numbers and the income and things like that. Like just like that, wait, release the outcome. I'm coming with the curiosity and openness and excitement. And instead of, oh, I have to make this happen, I'm calling this person, because that's when we put the money before the relationship. That's right. That's where it starts to feel icky, right? Because I'm calling this person because I need something. No, I'm calling because I genuinely care. I want to build a relationship. And once I focus on that, the money, I don't have to, that happens, right? And it's I just think it's that scarcity. This is right, all rooted in abundance. The idea that there's enough out there for all of us, and I don't have to make somebody do something. And I think one of the products of doing this work is you wind up spending more time with more qualified prospects, and you're able to just let go people who weren't the right fit, right? Instead of like feeling like you need to hold on to everyone because you have to get something, instead of like, hey, that's cool because if it's a fit, great. If not, that's okay too. And that's very different, I think, than what we've been taught. All right, Christina, what have you got?
It ties into and I think that both Colleen and Kylie also mentioned this listening more carefully, more intentionally, and hand in hand with that is learning how to listen for where the person you're having the conversation is. Are they go slow or no? And identifying that is really been helpful in gauging what I need to do next or not do at all.
Right. And so when you said go slow, no, I just want to clarify. So those are like, when we are listening, those are some of the energy states that people are in. Are they in a slow mode where they're contemplative, go mode where they're very decisive, no mode where they're struggling, or what we call glow mode, where it's just sort of like feeling very confident and ready for action. And so being able to read those energies and meet them, right? And because what happens is, oh, I'm in go mode, I want a decision. You're in slow mode, you're contemplating, and now I'm trying to push you for a decision, and you're like, I'm not ready for that. And then the communication breaks down, because again, people buy to the level they feel seen and heard. So thank you. And thank you for that, because I do feel like that is the biggest thing is really just tapping into the listening, and not what you want to hear, but what they're actually saying. And that's where release outcome comes into play, because I have an open heart and open mind, and I'm just ready to receive, not like, oh, I'm ready to listen only through the filter of what I want out of this. All right, Colleen.
Okay, so again, hard to say any one thing, because I feel like I've been able to really integrate a lot. But the thing that I think working with you both through the course and subsequently that I really use all the time is that kind of pause to set where I am before a lot of conversations. I think one of the things that I struggled with a lot was my brain was just going a mile a minute, and then my mouth would start going too. And that wasn't fair to anyone else in the room, and certainly didn't give me the outcomes that I wanted to. And then I walked away feeling, frustrated at myself, disappointed, insecure, all the things. And so, when you show us how to kind of ground our own selves before diving into a conversation and really center our intention and recognizing, yes, that we will be releasing the outcome. We won't be getting everything that we want from this very moment today. And then we can really think about, well, what's the one thing that I do want? How do I want to feel? And taking back some of that power has stuck with me a lot. That pause is so, so important to getting the next thing done. And it just kind of snowballs.
Right. And it's like the idea of being conscious of your energy, right? And what you're bringing into the situation. And even one of my clients right now, and she was saying she would rush from her car into the office because I'm so busy. Rush, 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 rush. And she's already setting her mind up that things are going to be hectic and chaotic. And you could just walk into the building, but really just sitting in your car, like tapping into for 30 seconds of, I have enough time. It's all right. And then walking in, because whatever you put out is what you get back. So if like the rush, 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 you get more of that. And it's just like those little simple shifts, because you don't realize, I didn't either. Carrying all this with me, and I'm actually creating more of the thing that I don't want, right? Because I feel like I'm powerless over it. I have to rush, 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 busy, busy, busy. And it's all just about that sovereignty.
Yes. The queen,
the undefended queen. That's what it means. Like, it's about staying sovereign no matter the external circumstance. And that's what Kylie so beautifully shared about, staying sovereign and owning your value, right? No matter what is happening around you. I don't, that if the donor says yes or no, that doesn't give me my value. I give me my value, right? I say, I create, I set the pattern. And I work on this stuff too, right? I'm not perfect. Like I just shared, like I kind of got, oh, right. I had to do the mental reset. I had to recapture the curiosity. And so this is a practice that we work on, right? And that like Colleen said, that we integrate. You use the word in, like, you're integrating all these things, and then they become habit. All right. So what would you say to somebody who, like Christina, you're listening to me, like really like it, like what would you say to somebody who may be considering jumping in to do this?
Oh gosh. Tell me more about how you think you'd like to be more deeply engaged in what we're doing, and trying to pull out a little bit more. And if I've been doing the active listening that I should be, or because I've developed this relationship and gotten to the point that we're having this conversation, I should know kind of the areas that this person is most deeply interested in or invested in, and perhaps I have a couple of options for them. And hey, I have this great idea. And as I was thinking about it, your name came to mind.
Yeah. Okay. So when you are working with someone, like being able to understand their needs and tap into that and give them, like, thank you so much for saying that, because I have this wonderful I'd love to share it with you. Like, so we have to understand our needs. And also, if there's, I don't know, Kylie or Colleen, what would you say to somebody who would be considering, jumping in on this experience?
I mean, I would say that if you're thinking about investing in yourself and your communication skills and your ability to own your place at that table, you won't regret that. Like, that's impossible to regret. And, that the beautiful thing is, I think the skills are so interchangeable. We've all talked about different ways we've shown up with these skills, right? Personally, professionally, in different types of professions. And like, that doesn't go away, right? I love that even though, Marianne, you really focus on a nonprofit situation, that very much all-encompassing communication and skills that just kind of elevate you no matter what seat you're sitting in. So I just,
whether it's
I was, by the way, answering another question.
That's okay. You want to answer the question I asked? It's all right.
Just do it don't hesitate. Just, I every day I am reminded of something else. There is another tool in my toolbox that I didn't have before, I didn't recognize that I had before. And I really do feel like I am stronger and clearer. And it would, just really worth the investment in self.
Thank you. All right, Kylie.
Yeah, I think that these ladies said it great. If they're having misgivings or some concerns about doing it, I would certainly, like Christina said, ask, what they were feeling and what some of those were. And hopefully after hearing our stories, they are like, dang, I don't want to miss out on that. That's awesome.
Right?
And so really, I would say, just do it. It's an investment that is really worthwhile, like Colleen said, because all these tools, once you have them, no one can take those away from you. And most of them are things that you do already have inside you, and it's just recognizing them and learning how to integrate them. And it's amazing. It is freeing. It is empowering. It's just awesome. And it's great to be able to do it with a group of people who are all feeling the same way to a certain extent that you are. So you know that you're not alone in that journey. There's like, you're with other people on that journey who are feeling those same things and learning right alongside you and sharing experiences. Priceless.
This conversation is making me feel wonderful. So thank you. I want to say a couple things. One is, thank you for bringing that up, because it is the joy of the group coaching model. I said, I'm part of a group. I invest, in my development, and that gives me the alignment to lead other people. And in that, it's the magic. Like I always say, I'm not the only source of magic, right? And watching people shift and grow and change is amazing. And also just watching the connections that are made, in the course and in the Colleen and Kylie are part of the Power Circle, so which is an ongoing after the course. And just to get to see that is just, even in the 6 weeks, the shift is just, it's amazing, because you're not the person you were when you got in. And the reason I do this is because, in my 30 years in nonprofit, what I saw was the issue was not people didn't have the right messaging or the right marketing. It's like they didn't understand their own value and how to stand in that. And, and then from that value, now we're creating messaging, right? Like, and so having this like very grounded space, and that's like, okay, now we're really being productive. Now it's really shifting. And so I just want to say thank you for sharing your stories. Any last words of wisdom you want to share? Yeah, Christina.
This is really about relationships. It's how we're showing up in our relationships with ourselves, with our colleagues, with our donors, and in our life in general. And priceless.
Thank you.
I would just say, Marianne, for folks that are thinking about this, is it's completely worth the time. And when you're starting this off, it might feel uncomfortable to hold the boundary for that time. and it absolutely has to be done. I mean, you can't do this kind of part way, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And so, there's never a perfect time, but make sure that you can hold the boundary for the time and space. And I love the intensive that you might be doing, as well as the 6-week model. Our schedules are always going to be crazy. So carving that space out and holding tight to those boundaries is just really key.
I think for me, that is the biggest misconception I would like to address is, okay, well, when things slow down, I'm going to do this, but actually doing this makes things slow down, right? Because you're telling yourself a better story about like, I got this. I have plenty of time. Like there's abundance of time. There's abundance. Right. I did a workshop the other day, and Courtney, who joined the course, and she said, I'm on this committee to raise a bunch of money for her work. And she literally someone's retiring. They're going to bail before the goal. I'm out. And they're like, why aren't you scared? Why aren't you nervous? Why? It'll be fine. We'll get there. And just that right. So it's when things get better, then I'll do this. And it's actually the opposite, right? When you focus on that, then everything else kind of slows down and gets better. But I love what you said about showing up 100%, because that is true. You got to be all in on this. I just had a call with somebody. I said, scale of 1 to 10, and they said 7. I'm like, let's talk when you're a 10. Think about it, contemplate, because it's a full body, all in thing. All right, Kylie.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point about the 100%. And it does feel a little awkward at first, especially if you are not super social and you might feel uncomfortable around other people.
There's a part of you.
There's a part of you that's like that. And it's such a safe and welcoming space. And it really allows you to be able to step into that and give your 100%. And I tend to be the kind of person who says I sometimes say that I'm too busy for things. And I have been very jealous of this time in my schedule. And really, unless there's something that I absolutely cannot rearrange, I make sure that time is blocked out because it's so important and so special.
Mm-hmm. We make time for what's important, right? There's plenty of time, so my board wanted that. People make time for what's important. All right. Thank you so much. And I appreciate all of you for being here, for sharing your insights and your stories, and also just being a part of this and trusting me and, allowing yourself to have this journey. I want to say, for if you're listening or watching and you're interested, I am doing I do a 6-week course, but this time I'm trying something new, and I'm going to do a 3-day, I'm calling it an intensive, but if that feels scary, I can do, is that scary? Workshop, but I'm a 3-day intensive where we're going to walk through all the course. And if you're interested in that, or learning about what else there is to work, how it is like to work with me, there is a link in the show notes, and you can book a time with me, and I'm happy to connect with you and see if you're ready for this. This isn't for everybody. That's okay. But if you're feeling like called to do something, let's talk about it and see. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here on the Influential Nonprofit. And that's it for this episode.
Take care.